We're four friends with hot takes on food media.
And we're here to review and recap all kinds of food shows in bite-sized seasons.
Plus, virtual potlucks, cooking adventures, and food memes.
Welcome to Pod Appétit Gourmet Takes.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
Hey, it's Justine.
Hi, it's LJ.
And it's me, Meg.
What?
Who was that just now?
I feel like, you know that GIF, the America's Next Top Model? I'm like, coming in. I'm back.
That gif. LJ, where the heck you been this whole time?
Well, I decided to take some time off because it turns out growing a human and then looking after one is quite tough in the first, year and a bit. And then more to come, I'm sure. But yeah, I was hoping to come back a couple of months back when I started back at work. But because my son started daycare, he immediately just got sick, for weeks and weeks and weeks, which was just crazy because all his sleep went insane. I was getting no sleep, he was getting no sleep, I was having to work as well as not having any sleep, and just anything else had to be deprioritized. So I was really upset not to be able to come back when planned, but I'm happy to be here now. I'm happy to report things are a bit more normal and settling down. So yeah, I'm here, I'm ready.
Yay! Don't worry, you technically have been in every episode because you're in our intro and outro.
But I felt so just a fraud because I'm I shouldn't really be in this. I've done no work at all and I'm taking all the credit still.
Boo. You did a lot of work making and raising a baby.
Yeah, it was a lot of work, believe me. But yeah, no, it's I have to say though, I feel like my entire not my personality, but my life is completely different to the last time I was on the show. So don't be expecting big things in the kitchen from me because there's been no big things. And we'll see when we come to talk about it. But yeah, my life is different, and anyone who couldn't tell before will be able to tell now, because I ain't doing the same shit I was doing when I had more time, that's for sure.
You can tell us about all the baby food you're pureeing.
Yeah, no purees. I'm doing baby-led weaning, which is a whole other thing I can talk about, which is maybe a whole other podcast, but yeah.
Well, welcome back, LJ. Welcome, everybody. Pod Appétit Gourmet Takes. Back to our brand new season, second episode. We are covering Sweet Heat with Rick Martinez, a Food 52 YouTube series. Rick brings us recipes built on his favorite flavor profile, sweet and heat, from his kitchen in Mazatlan, Mexico. On the menu for today's episode, we've got 2 episodes. The first one, fried tomato sandwich and lemon-basil sour cream. And second episode, twice baked sweet potatoes and veggies with spicy tahini.
Oops, all vegetables.
All the sausage.
Whoopsie. Well, before we get into Sweet Heat, let's talk about what we've been cooking, eating, or not cooking in our kitchens. I'm just going to toss it back to LJ because I miss you so dang much.
So yeah, I have to say, I haven't cooked a meal for Russ and I the entire time I've been away. I just don't cook for adults anymore. I just cook for my son. I take care of most of the baby food, and he does us, which is very nice of him, because I'm usually doing most of the bedtime routine, so the time when you would be cooking. I mentioned it earlier, but baby-led weaning is a method of teaching your kids to eat solids where you don't really do purees or anything. You just basically have them eat what you're eating in an appropriately served in a way that's appropriate for their development at the point in time that they're eating it. So when they're first starting out, it's massive things that they can grab it and gum on it. As they get older and they develop their pincer grasp, you can cut things smaller and smaller so that they don't choke on them. And then as they get past 12 months, you don't have to worry as much about salt and sugar and stuff like that. It's just before 12 months they really can't handle anything like that. But it's still a good idea to reduce the salt. But other than that, they can pretty much have whatever you're having for the most part. So I decided to do that because I just did a lot of research, being me, into the best way to feed kids, and really, really trying not to pass on the same like hang-ups that you have as an adult onto your kids, and like give them the best possible foundation. I mean, obviously you can't protect against everything, but doing my best. And he's a great little eater, so I'm really pleased. Like, he just took to it really, really well. I mean, he gets fussy from time to time. Like, sometimes he'll eat something and then the next day he'll be like, no, I don't want that. But that's just normal toddler behavior. They all do that. But for the most part, he's pretty good. But I have to say, some of my favourite things that I'm making for him at the moment. Last week, I made him some mac and cheese, like, muffins. They're good because it's like mac and cheese, just with some extra, like, broccoli and cauliflower, like, thrown in there. And you make them in muffin cases and bake them in the oven with a bit of melted cheese on top. And they're great because not only are they great when you first make them, but they freeze well, and you can make a whole big batch, and then you've got stuff for ages. And they're in their own little portions for a baby, like, appetite, and you can take them out and about, because once they've defrosted and they're kind of set in the fridge or whatever, I'm always looking for stuff that I can take out that doesn't make much of a mess, because it's kind of like congealed and together. It's just a good snack or meal to take with you on the go. So these are the things I think about now when I think about food. Will it make a mess? Can I transport it? And can he have it cold without me having to heat it up? So yeah, so he has those quite a lot. And I've just tested a new food with him this week to see if he likes it, and that is smoked mackerel, because I loved it as a kid, and I was just a bit nervous because he's not been he'll eat a bit of fish, but he's not like super into it like he is his mac and cheese or whatever, or anything pasta, to be honest. So I was like, I put a little bit on the side of his plate the other day with some vegetables that he likes, and he was a bit like, what's this? Why are you giving me this at first? And then I picked up a bit and was like, this is nice, Mum likes it. And so he tried a little bit, and then he just grabbed a whole handful and shoved it in his face, and now he's had it like 3 or 4 times since then, and just really likes it. So yay for the fish and all the goodness that fish can give kids, protein, omega-3s, all that stuff. So yeah, so he's doing pretty well, and that is my life in the kitchen.
I would eat those muffins.
Amazing.
I would eat them. They're delicious. They're really good.
Do you end up sharing with him sometimes?
Oh, yeah. And that's actually a really good thing to do with kids, is to role model eating food. Because even if they start off not interested in something, if they see you like eating it, then basically kids want to eat whatever you're eating. So if you're eating it, they're like, oh, actually, maybe I do want some. So, yeah. How about you, Amanda, as someone who also maybe spends less time in the kitchen, or about the same amount of time in the kitchen as I do these days?
Yes, definitely not a lot of time in the kitchen. I've been working on a play, so I've been doing a lot of cereal for dinner, which my husband teases me about. But I've been doing a lot of just like plain rice checks, so it's gluten-free, and it's just, I really like rice checks, and I actually prefer the off-brand, the rice bits from Kroger. It's cheap, it's easy, and doesn't take a lot of time, especially if I'm running from work to home or work to home to another job, or, you know, all sorts of stuff like that. So that's been handy since, because I missed last time because the recording was on Easter. We did have an Easter dinner, and the highlight was my mother-in-law made her own butter lamb, which is I don't know if it's a full Ukrainian tradition, but it is a Ukrainian, Ohioan tradition, is to have a butter lamb with Easter, and they didn't have the official one. They couldn't find it, so she made her own. So I can share a picture of the makeshift butter lamb if you would like.
Can you explain what it is?
It is butter in the shape of a lamb.
There you go.
It's a good thing you explained.
What I was thinking at all. I was thinking it was
I knew what it was.
I thought it was like the Ukrainian version of maybe like buttered chicken that they do in India. Like, no. Okay, so it's just butter, just in a...
It's just butter, and then it's like carved or shaped into a lamb. She ended up doing a makeshift carving real fast, because normally it's like put into this like mold and it's put overnight and all this stuff. And we were told that the family that was coming from out of town was bringing it with them. And then they showed up, and I told all these people on the play I was working with, hey, when I come to the show tomorrow night, I'll have come straight from my Ukrainian Easter dinner. So, you know, the butter lamb. And they were like, what the fuck is a butter lamb? And so I was like, I'll bring a picture. And then, of course, instantly, I had people that whole day being like, can't wait to see this butter lamb. And then my husband's cousin showed up and he was like, oh yeah, I forgot to get it. And I was like, oh no, all these people are waiting for the butter lamb
Easter
picture.
is ruined.
I have seen, when I was in the States at Thanksgiving, I've seen like a buttered turkey, like a butter in the shape of a turkey before. Is that like inspired by butter lamb?
Maybe.
Or are
I
they
had
just,
never
like,
heard of
You can carve butter into anything.
You really can. It's true.
You can.
Yeah.
At the Ohio State Fair, there's usually a giant butter cow, and then they make butter sculptures of other things.
Oh,
so
gosh,
for
yes.
my Ohio friends, they're like, butter lamb, is this like a butter cow, or is this something else? So I'm like, yeah, but very wee. It's not like a full...
Wait, what's the size? What size are we talking here, Amanda? Like
could fit in your hand.
Okay, so not like life size.
No.
Okay.
We're not trying to carve butter for a fair competition or something.
I mean, I don't know. Who knows? I don't know what you get up to.
See, now I feel like I'm going to have to go to the Ohio State Fair this summer and go see the butter cow and take pictures.
How does it not melt in the summer? Like, I don't... Is it...
They have it in like a special cooling
Oh, they do? Okay.
thing. Yeah,
Too
and they
bad.
do
Oh, wow.
extra special sculptures every year. Like, I remember, I think it was 2019 because it was 50 years since the moon landing. There were a whole bunch of like astronauts carved out of butter and things like that. So
It's the Midwest version of ice carving.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I was like, it's like ice carving. Oh.
of course it's butter here in Ohio.
You just take whatever material you have the most of. It's fine.
So I have one more question and then I'll move on. Like, I know, okay, so in the UK, we sell butter in like blocks, like packs of butter. And I know you sell it in sticks mostly. Like, do you have to like smush sticks together to make a whole like lamb? Or, because I'm just thinking if I was in the UK, I'd just buy a normal pack and that would be around hand size.
That is an excellent question. I believe, because I caught the tail end of it, my mother-in-law actually buys mostly Kerrygold butter. So it does come in the UK size.
Yeah, and like the pack, yeah.
In the
We have
pack. So
Kerrygold.
that is what she typically has at her house. But I think she took sticks and kind of stacked it on each other and put it together.
You learn something new every day.
Cereal and butter lambs, guys. How about you, Meg? What have you been up to?
Not nearly anything so
that.
exciting. Nothing animal shaped. No, I made what I'm calling breakfast spam in quotation marks, musubi. So if you haven't had musubi, it's kind of like onigiri or like a sushi hand roll. So it's rice with some sort of filling wrapped up in nori. This particular type of musubi, spam musubi, is very popular in Hawaii. It's like a Japanese Hawaiian dish. I can't remember if they talked about it in Taste the Nation, the episode Zen and the Art of Poke, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did talk about it because that is perfectly in that intersection of Japanese Hawaiian food. So I layered rice, sprinkled some furikake on top of that, hash browns, some eggs that I had not scrambled, but kind of made into a little omelet and folded over and cut into musubi shape so that it would fit with everything else. And then on top of that, I put something called omni pork luncheon meat. I just love the word omni pork, but it's one of those plant-based meat substitutes. So it's not actually pork, it's omni pork. And so that's my spam. It tasted a lot like spam. I'm one of those people who unironically enjoys spam, so I thought that that was a pretty good substitution. And I pan-fried that in a soy sauce glaze. So that was mostly just soy sauce with a little bit of cornstarch to get it a kind of like thicker glaze consistency. you put it all together, you stack it up, and you wrap nori around it. It's really, really good. I love it.
Sounds amazing.
I want it.
Omni pork just sounds like wherever you turn, there's omni pork.
Everywhere there's pork.
That's what I was instantly thinking. I'm like, it's just all the pork. It's everywhere.
I was also thinking maybe infina pork, just like a Mobius strip of pork that never ends.
Porkception.
This is the pork that never ends. Yeah.
What about you, Justine? I'm sure you weren't making pork.
Nope. I was actually inspired by our chat with Erin Gleeson. Listeners heard that episode last week, the live AMA Reddit talk. In that chat, we talked about a beet hummus from her cookbook, Forest Feast Road Trip, which we did get copies of. Thank you, Reddit.
Thank you.
So yeah, I made that. I made the beet hummus. It makes the hummus come out pink. It's so cute and adorable. And also in her cookbook, she pairs it with parsnip fries. I didn't have parsnips, but I did have rainbow carrots. So I roasted up some rainbow carrots with that. And it was just like this beautiful pink and rainbow dish. And it's gorgeous. And I took pictures of it immediately. Yeah. Also, it's been like 2 years since I've had hummus because I developed a food intolerance to sesame. But I was able to introduce it back. And so I've had hummus and it was delicious and I missed it so much. I love hummus.
I make a lot of hummus for Riley, and I don't put tahini in. I mean, like I could do. I just the baby recipe that I've got doesn't have it. So you could make it without the sesame.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Okay.
I tried. Oh, also, since I bought those beets, it came with beet greens, and you know what I made?
Pesto.
I was going to say Rick's dish, but I knew the real answer was pesto.
Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, that was where my mind went as well, Meg. I was like, Rick, no.
Surprising no one, I made a beet greens pesto.
How was it? Did it taste like beety?
Yeah, it had a little bit of a bite to it. Like, it was good. Dude, make pesto out of anything, man. I'm full for it. And, like, I haven't made you guys noticed I hadn't made pesto in a while. So back on the wagon.
Saw that as a challenge.
Now I want to know if you're going to make just a beet pesto so it can just be red.
I have had a beet pesto that was made from the beets itself, and it was really good.
Yeah.
I think it's essentially like the hummus I made.
Yeah.
Oh, also my nut in the pesto was a walnut. So hearty. All right. Man, that's everybody. So let's get back to Sweet Heat. We're going to talk about the first episode, fried tomato sandwich with lemon-basil sour cream. And here's the description from YouTube. It's getting hot in this episode of Sweet Heat with Food 52's resident sugar man, Rick Martinez, sharing a crispy fried red tomato sandwich with lemon-basil sour cream. This refreshing dish is packed full of bright flavors from the juicy tomato and crunchy cucumber, while chili oil brings the heat. Add in a smear of cool herby sour cream, and this sandwich is the summer meal you've been waiting for. It's getting hot, all right.
Yeah, oh my God. Yeah, like the intro, I was not prepared.
Juicy.
Filthy. That was absolutely filthy. And I've never eaten a tomato like an apple, but that intro is gonna make me. Like, I'm gonna buy some tomatoes as soon as they're in season and go for it. I won't film it though.
Are you also going to romance the tomato in bed like Rick did?
I don't know. It depends how good it is, I suppose.
You don't want to just like put strewn clothes across the floor leading to the bedroom.
I mean, do I want to? No. Will it be so delicious that I feel compelled to? Who can say?
One thing in this episode I thought was interesting is how he was really emphasizing, like, he's going to do fried red tomatoes.
Yeah.
And at the end, he said something about, I don't know, we're going to get rid of those fried green tomatoes. It's all going to be about the fried red tomatoes. And I wanted to be like, Rick, it's because there's a book and a movie called Fried Green Tomatoes. They just have more branding.
He's trying to get that hashtag going, though.
That's true. That is true.
What was really funny about this video is that my son Riley absolutely adores tomatoes, and he loves dogs. So because Rick had his dog in the video, like, he was just entranced throughout this entire video. Like, so I actually did take some video of him just staring at the tomatoes and the dog and the tomatoes.
Oh my God.
Like literally dropped his toys to go and watch. It was really funny.
You showed your child this smut?
I didn't know it was going to be smut when I put it on the big screen.
This literal food porn?
Yeah, I did. It's true. Please don't report me.
Yeah, I'm not sure where this video falls in the timeline of Sweet Heat. We've been choosing the episodes that we want to cover on this season sort of based on what some of the more popular videos were. But I feel like wherever it falls in the timeline, they're doing a really good job in this era. I felt like it was a really fun video. I know we haven't watched too many for the podcast yet, but this is my favorite one so far. Maybe it's just because it had this really bright, summery vibe. It made me feel really happy watching it. All these bright colors. Rick was obviously being silly and hilarious. The food looked great. I liked everything about this video.
I was thinking about it because since having a baby, I just do not have the time to consume the amount of content that I want to anymore. So as much as I would love to say and come back and be like, I have watched all of his Sweet Heat and I know everything, and I haven't. I'm like literally watching what I need to be able to do this. But I loved watching it because it really reminded me of the good old days of BA when we were ignorant. And everything seemed fun, and like it really had that vibe back. And I have to say, out of all of the people that we used to watch on BA and still like and follow their journey after the whole thing came crashing down, I think Rick's journey's my favorite. He's just out there living his best life in Mexico, like writing his books and making his videos for the Food 52, and it's just a joy to watch. I just really, really, really like it. And this video was perfect. It was like right length for me, like delicious food, like great hilarious like banter throughout, and jokes like woven all through it. Food porn, like what more does anyone want from anything, seriously?
And one of the best Rick looks so far. He had his signature teal Rick nails with the accent
I'm so
nails.
happy to see the nails.
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
Speaking of Rick's journey, he just released like the introduction to his cookbook on his Instagram, and he does talk about a lot of BA stuff in his introduction and his like journey into totally dismissing the word authentic and what that did with him working there and then coming out and then doing all this stuff.
Yeah, that's
so definitely worth a read.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's already on my list to buy like books for. I mean, if any book's gonna prompt me to get back in the kitchen, I think a book like this will. Although I did say that about Molly's book as well, and I haven't quite. I bought it, but I've not done anything with it yet. I've just read it and gone, yeah, I'd like that. Yeah, I'd like that.
I pre-ordered Mi Cocina, so I'm anxiously awaiting its arrival. It should get here any day now.
Yay! As far as this recipe goes, though, how did people feel about it? I mean, I thought it looked amazing. That sandwich profile.
I love tomatoes. Tomatoes are one of my favorite ingredients ever. I've grown or attempted to grow tomatoes myself the last 5 years, and I plan to do so as well this year. So I'm really hoping I actually get a good yield this year, because I would love to make this with some of my own fresh tomatoes. And the way he describes it, it sounds so perfect. You get these warm, crunchy tomatoes. You get the nice crispy shards of panko, and then contrasting that with the creamy basil lemon sauce. And so you get a little bit of warm, you get a little bit of cool, you get a little bit of crunchy, you get a little bit of softness. It just sounds like it's perfectly balanced, a little bit of acidity, and of course the heat. He makes this arbol chili oil.
The chili oil. Oh my God.
That looked really good. Yeah. Also really simple to make. It's just the chilies and oil and salt. I think that was it. That was the entire thing. And I also like of the recipes of Sweet Heat, obviously baked into the conceit of the show is something sweet and something hot. So I liked that there was no actual added sweet sugar element. The only sweet part was the tomato. So that really appealed to me.
It was the same in the other video as well. We picked quite a well-paired couple of vids for this episode. But I loved how he was treating the tomato almost like you would a meat, like the real thick boy slices. Like really, like it was just like so hearty as a sandwich, considering it's made of like just all vegetables. There's no like meat or fish or anything in it. But you wouldn't walk away feeling like unsatisfied. I don't think. It looked really good.
Yeah, so Rick had like an aside in this episode where he was talking to the other person saying people don't know how to cook vegetables properly. I'm like, thank you, Rick, for this pro veggies are sexy agenda you're bringing us.
Yeah, I picked out that quote as well, Justine, because that's 100% my experience. Because when I was growing up, I just thought that I hated vegetables. Like, I really didn't get on with them at all. And it wasn't until I left home and saw other people at college and whatever, like cooking veg in different ways to like how I'd had it at home, and thought, and like this whole world was like opened up to me, that you didn't just have to boil your veg. That I suddenly was like, actually, vegetables are fucking delicious. What have I been like exposed to my entire life? Like, this is child abuse. No, but seriously, like it's
the third time LJ's brought up child abuse in this half hour.
That's like the theme. Yeah, no, but it's 100% true that if you think you don't like a vegetable, and probably true of all foods to be honest, but if you think you don't like it, it's probably that you haven't found the preparation that you like yet, I think. Or at least tried enough of them to 100% rule it out. So I've really, once I figured that out, that I liked like roasted vegetables where you get that like caramelization, and stir fried vegetables where they're nice and fresh and like crunchy. Like, there's so many ways you can prepare vegetables, and it's just like once you figure that out, if you try something you don't like it, you think, well, maybe there's a way that I will like it one day, rather than thinking, okay, I'm not having that again.
And frying something is a good way to go.
Frying's
always delicious.
True. Always good.
Yeah. True.
Add enough, oil, like fry something or cover it in cheese is always my two go-tos if I don't like it.
As we know, I'm always on board for covering something in cheese. I will admit, so I am not the biggest fan of tomatoes, but this looked very appetizing despite it being a tomato. I was thinking about, I'm sorry, Meg, I'm so sorry.
Shaking my head disapprovingly over here.
Yeah. I
knew it was coming.
Of like doing basically the same thing, but with like fried zucchini, which is something I've always loved.
Yeah.
And just subbing out the tomatoes for the zucchini, because even like where I grew up, one of the small towns nearby, there was a zucchini festival every year. So we'd have like all kinds of zucchini stuff. Also a tomato festival in another nearby town, because Ohio. But yeah, I was thinking if I just like subbed out the fried tomato for the fried zucchini, I was thinking this might be something really fun to do with my husband sometime this summer.
Yeah, that'd be great.
We, after the grilled cheese debacle recently, he was like, here, I'm gonna make us grilled cheese, and it was amazing because he's good at cooking.
But did he show you how to do it?
No, because I was actually working on something, and he made dinner while I was working on something for the theater I do stuff with. So I was paying people, and he was making us dinner. But yeah, I will admit I would probably forego the cucumbers just because I'm not a big cucumber person, especially raw cucumber. When he put the cucumbers in the water, I was just like, nope, I'm out.
Spa water? You don't like spa water? Amanda!
I love spa water.
No, there's a local ice cream place that always has cucumber water, and if I go there, I have to bring my own water because I can't do cucumber water.
Gosh, I didn't realize cucumber was so offensive. It's really good if you're teething, Amanda. So, Okay.
So in 50 years, when I'm losing all my teeth, I'll
My
come
son
back
loves
with
it to like when he's got a sore tooth.
Yes, but I was thinking like I could put something else instead of cucumber. Like I like arugula or spinach or something like that, and just like again sub in something else green and that still has like a crunch to it, but not the same as the cucumber. I just the whole idea, like you talked about the oil. I thought the lemon-basil sour cream sauce that he made looked really great.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was instantly, I was like, oh my God, I just want to make that and just like have that with vegetables. Like, just like
that could
carrots
go on
and
anything.
It sounded like a
broccoli
fancy ranch sauce. Looked really good.
Yes.
there were just like two elements where I was like, but instead of just thinking like, I don't want to pay attention to this dish, I tried to think, okay, what could I sub in that I would find really delicious and that maybe my husband and I could do together.
Sounds great.
Yes, that's how we start cooking. Yeah, this is definitely a kicked up a notch tomato sandwich. Back in my day, we had white bread, mayonnaise, tomato.
Still good.
So true.
Oh, that sourdough.
Yeah, the
looks so
sourdough
good.
looked great. Oh, it all just looked brilliant.
Our potluck's going to be all of us making this.
I have already said to Russ, like, we're making it when it's tomato season. So it won't be for potluck because our tomatoes don't get really good until much later in the summer. But yeah, I love tomatoes. So yeah, it's on the list.
The LJ grunt. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break and towel off after that steamy content. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back and we're talking about twice baked sweet potatoes and veggies with spicy tahini. Okay.
Twice.
Gonna read this description. Oh. This dish features sweet, rich, caramelized, twice-baked sweet potatoes and roasted beets, toasted nuts and spices, fresh greens, and a spicy tahini mint sauce for a big punch of flavor. It's the kind of healthy eating that feels decadent, and this method for sweet potatoes is a game changer in any dish.
Rick is a freaking extra genius. Like, twice roasted sweet potatoes. Where does he come up with this
Dude,
stuff?
I mean, with that the size of that sweet potato though, that it already took him like an hour and a half to roast it the first time.
That was like
Yeah,
the
you'd have
size
to-
of a baby's head.
Oh, baby.
You'd have to remember to like leave yourself enough time to do it. But if you do, like, what a great idea. I was just like, I was literally like, what? Rick, you are insane. You really are going all out. But I bet it tastes amazing. Like, it looked so good when it came out the second time.
Yeah, even though the prep, like you said, would take a while, the actual active preparation of this recipe seems pretty low.
Easy.
Low to
Yeah.
medium. I'm like, this looks like a beautiful, complex, in terms of flavors, complex dish, but actually relatively easy to make. I really liked this recipe.
I really liked his little
Yeah.
mantra that even if you're eating for one, your food should be beautiful and like you should put that time in and like plate everything nicely. And I was just like almost cried because I was like, I haven't made time to make food for me for like ever, like for so long. And I was just like, I should make time to make my food beautiful and I haven't been doing it. And Rick's told me I should do it, so I'm gonna go and bloody well do it. So yeah.
LJ, I heard that quote and thought, I don't have time for that.
Well, no, I heard it. It's because I used to care and like have time to do it. I think that's why it hit so hard for me because like if you've never done it and you've never prioritized it and you don't care about prioritizing it, it doesn't bother you. I think it's probably fine. But like if you used to do that and now you're like, oh, I used to do that and now who even am I anymore? Like what's happened? Like I just it hit home for me.
I got a little bit of whiplash in this episode. We went from bright, summery, and all of a sudden we jumped back in time to New Year's 2021, January, and he's talking about, I'm getting these winter ingredients because they're in season. They still looked gorgeous, though.
Yeah.
I thought it was quite a nice pairing, like not only because both of them had the no sugar thing, which is unusual for the sugar man, but I just thought it was quite nice to have like a real, like, the epitome of summer in a sandwich, but then like a real like winter dish to pair with the, like, as a pairing of episodes. It was quite serendipitous that we had them both together, because I thought they were both really good at showcasing like seasonal food. And that this dish was quite interesting because even though it's winter and obviously it involved seasonal food, like all the root veg and the citrus, I think people often think of like January, February as a real like fallow time for fresh produce. It's like you want the summer, the spring and the summer is when stuff gets good again. But actually he's just proven that you can make something like a salad, like the winter salad, which people don't do enough, but like something that's really kind of light, bright, but also satisfying out of seasonal winter food, which is quite unusual, and I really liked seeing how he put it all together.
Yeah, so this is something similar to what I make regularly, you know, roasting vegetables, put them in a bowl, greens, sauce, a protein of some sort, nuts, but this is like extra, like I don't make this. But that tahini lime basil, so I am going to make that for sure, because I'm always subbing out sauces. Like the other day I did carrot ginger sauce. Like anything when you're roasting vegetables can just be changed in flavor with the sauce. So I'm like doing that, taking notes.
When I heard the description, I was expecting the tahini to be more of the like sauce on the salad instead of like the base of it. So I thought that was interesting how that ended up being the base, and then he had that lime juice, olive oil, and was it just salt? Like,
Yeah.
For the what he put the
Dressing.
beet greens in and a couple of the other things, and it was like I'd never thought of like, oh, the tahini's not the sauce on top, like that's the base of the dish. But I thought that was really interesting.
That's quite a BA thing, because I remember from doing a lot of their like the farmers market challenge dishes and the in the summer, they did quite a few of them where they had like a swirl of like whatever the sauce or whatever condiment they wanted to have with it as the base. And actually I quite liked, not only does it look cool, but also I find that eating a dish that way personally, it's more interesting than just mixing, like tossing it all together in a sauce, because you can tailor how much of it you want to put on each bite. So you can really like, if there's like a bit of the salad with a mouthful of it where you're like, actually I just want a tiny bit of the sauce, you can control that rather than it just all being mixed together and covered in it. So I quite like eating it like that, but it's quite a BA kind of flair to do that, I think.
Yeah, I don't think I had thought about how it was going to be plated, so I wasn't surprised, but I also wouldn't have thought to plate it the way that he did. And I liked that it was like, oh, we'll surround everything. We'll have some raw stuff here. We'll have some roasted stuff here. So like you were saying, LJ, you can sort of control and customize each bite and be like, oh, that was good, but what if I paired this with that? And again, he really seems to think about texture. So you get these crisp, crunchy, raw things like the poblano and the serrano paired with the nice, rich, roasted beets and sweet potatoes.
I also loved how he's really into not like low waste or zero waste, because like he saved like everything, because he was like, oh, you can do something with this, like the little beet stalks. He was like, there was like a little pop-up that was like, you can pickle these or, you know, brine them or whatever you want to do. And you could see, put them all in a special container to the side to do something with.
I have a structural question, and I did listen to the episode that you guys talked about, like the graphics and stuff on the previous episode, but the little chyron that pops up sometimes in the left-hand side of the screen with like a fun little fact or something, is that a Speedo?
Yes.
Okay. it happened like, because I watched more than just the 2 episodes from the last our last episode. I watched some other stuff because my OCD is like try to watch in order when can, and I was like, wait a sec. I kept looking at it trying to figure out what it was for a little while. I was like, is that a weird check mark? I don't know what. And then I was like, no, I think that's a Speedo.
I didn't even see that at all.
No, I didn't. I don't know what you're talking about.
Speedo.
I'll have to look out for it next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been in a few episodes. It's a Speedo. Like, they have picked the, like, clip art for Rick, and one of them is a Speedo.
I was going to say, I think it fits with his personal brand. Rick in a Speedo.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think my brain just automatically tunes out those tooltips for some reason. I never seem to catch them.
Well, what's going on screen is so interesting when it's Rick.
Mm-hmm.
That is true. It's always, there's some fashion of some sort going on.
This episode, it was the hot pink gloves that he used to chop his beets up. I was
Paging
like,
Dr.
I didn't know you
Martinez.
could get pink ones.
Okay, I have to ask you guys, did any of you, every time he talked about the beets staining things, was anybody else thinking of that Portlandia sketch?
No, I don't watch Portlandia.
Okay,
I
well,
know
there
it's
is a
good, though.
Portlandia sketch where it's all these people calling 911 and they're like, I just went to the bathroom and everything is red. And they're like, did you eat beets tonight? And they're like, well, I had oh. And they're like, yep, it's beets, you're fine. And then it went. So every time he talked about the beet staining it, I just kept envisioning Fred Armisen telling people on the phone, it's just beets, you're going to be all right, man.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm an idiot and didn't even, like, his tip about using parchment paper, I was like, oh my god, why have I never thought about that before? Like, I hate when beets stain everything. And I was like, of course, parchment paper, it's been staring at me in the face all along. So that's
I
what
watched
I'm
this
doing.
episode right before making my beet hummus, and I implemented the parchment
Did
paper
you?
and the gloves.
Does it work?
Did it help?
Yes. Works. Yeah. 100%. Do it.
I really wish I'd watched this episode before I sliced some sriracha tofu on my cutting board yesterday, because that stained the heck out of it. Where was that tooltip when I needed it?
Aw.
Speaking of beets, I really liked the soundtrack for this episode. It was like chill lo-fi beats to cook to.
Oh, what a segue, Meg. That's hilarious.
Oh, he's got that ASMR too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you what ASMR I enjoyed, and it wasn't just for the ASMR. It was the, you know, his storage pots? I'm obsessed. Like, the stuff that he keeps all his, like, sesame seeds in, and his, like, the ones
he
that...
uses the OXO.
Sorry?
Yeah,
Is that OXO?
their OXO brand.
Oh, I was
yeah,
going to
I've
ask
got
if anyone
those.
knew what brand they were. Like, they pop up with the lid. A, that just appeals to me because I'm a child. But B, they look so cool. I'm in the process at the moment of trying to switch up my, like, kitchen storage, because we have quite a small kitchen for the size of apartment that we have now, which is like the bane of my life, even though as I've mentioned, I don't really cook anymore, but I want to cook. A part of it is because I hate my kitchen, I think. But yeah, I'm just tired of rummaging for what it is that I'm looking for in these tiny cupboards. So I figure if I can just like streamline everything and have everything in stuff that makes the best use of the space, it will make my life easier. So, but because that's quite a lot to do, an entire kitchen's worth in one go, like I don't have the funds to do the entire thing, I'm like kind of going cupboard by cupboard, and I'm like looking out for storage solutions. So OXO, you're saying I need to go and look at OXO. Okay, cool, I will. Watch this space.
Yeah,
I'll
and
have
you
a
can
Rick
get
kitchen
them
before you know it.
tall or like wide. They'll come square or rectangular.
Oh, amazing. And they all go boop boop with the lid.
Yep. Yep.
So exciting.
Not sponsored.
But
But we would be open. We would be open. If you want to send me
Yes.
products to use
Oh my
and
god.
test,
Yeah, I just
I'd be
bought a
there.
bunch of OXO products too from Target.
Hey, Oxo,
Please
if you're
sponsor.
interested, we'd love to talk.
Honestly. Oh my god. So he added like peppers and chilies and spicy things all over this. I'm afraid of this dish, the heat level.
Sounds good to me. Put that whole habanero in.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, when he was chopping up the habanero and like, you can just do half of it, I was like, oh no, put it all in. I want the whole thing.
Oh my god. You know, when he says if you're afraid of heat, he's talking directly to me.
But that's what like the rest of it's for. Like the tahini will cool that down, and you can just put loads of tahini on the bottom of your salad. Make a bowl of tahini, then put the salad on it.
Uh-huh.
It'd be like a poke bowl, but for tahini.
That sesame intolerance gonna come right back. All right, that was a stirring conversation. Let's go see what's on our back burner today. Hey everybody, you can join Rick on the Mi Cocina book tour. Rick posted on his Instagram all the dates, all the locations that he's gonna go, where you can meet him, where you can get signed copies. I am considering going.
You should.
See.
I mean, I need him to guarantee that he will eat a tomato live the way he did. You know, I mean, like,
I just present him a tomato,
Magic
bow
Rick.
down.
Not Magic Mike, Magic Rick. That's what I want. Sadly, not making his way over the pond yet, but, you know, there's a couple of virtual events there.
Well, if you can't join Rick on the book tour, then join him with us. Surprise! We'll be talking to Rick Martinez on our Reddit talk next week on r/food.
And our minds are blown.
Dream come true.
We shot for the moon and we got it. Yeah, Rick's the moon in this scenario.
I can't think about these things too much or my brain explodes. So I just go like, yes, it's a thing, whatever. Like, can't think about it too much.
And it's not just us talking to him. You guys can ask him questions live, too. It's like a live audio AMA. So you should definitely tune in. And maybe you could talk to Rick.
100%. Check our social media for the date and time. Claire Saffitz has a new book coming out this November. Eagle-eyed Twitter friend at Claire Starter found you can pre-order it on Amazon. And the book is titled What's for Dessert? Simple Recipes for Dessert People.
Wait, is it a thing about dessert? I don't know if Claire likes dessert, guys.
100 more dessert recipes from Claire Saffitz. Will she temper chocolate?
When I saw what it was called, I just thought it was really funny that her first book was called Dessert Person and this one's called So What's for Dessert? And I was like, Claire, you should know. Like, why are you asking us?
She's really trying to make the dessert person / dessert people thing her brand.
Freya Cox from Jabibo 2021 has a cookbook coming out called Simply Vegan Baking, taking the faff out of vegan cakes, cookies, breads, and desserts. You can pre-order it now, and the US edition will be out September 27th.
I love that subtitle because whenever I think of Freya, I don't remember what episode it was. I don't remember what it was in reference to. But she said, yeah, that's always such a faff, isn't it? And so I wonder if other people latched on to the faff thing because I just found it hilarious. And I think it's great that she's embracing that and running with it.
So, Justine, since it's a vegan cookbook and it's Jabibo, are you thinking about getting this one?
Yeah, I like Freya. I would like to see,
You like Freya, you dislike faff.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a perfect fit.
In my wheelhouse. I'm interested to see if there are, Britishy recipes that are, converted to vegan. So, excited.
I'm sure there's lots of that, yes.
That's the technical term, right, LJ? Britishy?
Yeah, I can confirm, yeah.
All right, now we've got some shout outs. We would like to thank our new bestie, Erin Gleeson, for doing an awesome AMA. You heard this episode last week in our feed, but on May 11th, 1 p.m. PST, we'll be doing another Reddit talk with the vintage baker herself, Jessie Sheehan.
Because Reddit talks are our personal brand now.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this episode when it drops on Monday, it's this week. If it's already past that, you missed it, but it'll be in our feed coming soon. Raven L, the Unwritable Rant, Mary, Kale Break, and Nerdified Jen all had wonderful things to say about my pad Kemow on Instagram. Thank you so much. Let's see. Mary, Heidi from Vibrant Visionaries, B is for Bagel Book, and who's this? Rick Martinez is very happy that we're covering Sweet Heat. He left us a comment.
I love him so much. He's so cute and supportive.
He's the best. Well, thanks everybody for getting in touch with us on social media. And don't forget to head over and pick up some merch from us on our thread list, podappetit.threadlist.com. You can get shirts, you can get notebooks. Somebody just purchased a notebook recently. Carolyn from Beyond 6 Seconds. She bought a notebook from us. She's the best. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us this week. Thank you, LJ, for taking time out of your busy schedule.
Thank you for having me back. And not
It's
being
awesome
like,
to have you back.
Who are you?
LJ's gonna come whenever she can.
Yeah, I really am going to come whenever I can. Sometimes it's going to be like, baby, be tricky, and I may not make it, but I'm going to do my damn best.
Next week, you're gonna hear the Jessie Sheehan AMA Reddit talk on this feed, but then after that, we'll be back with 2 more Sweet Heat episodes, loaded bacon-wrapped hot dogs, and buñuelos with spicy hot chocolate.
Excellent pronunciation. We've got
Nailed
going on
it.
here. Rick will be so proud of us.
Buñuel. See you next time. Thanks for listening to Pod Appétit Gourmet Takes.
We'd love to hear from you, so find us on Twitter and Instagram at pod_appétit.
And on Facebook at Pod Appétit Podcast.
You can also email us at podappetitpodcast@gmail.com and find all of our episodes on our website, podappetitpodcast.com.
Did you ever go on vacation with your family and hope the dance instructor would fall in love with you?
No, but I did think a guy with a giant boombox playing Peter Gabriel outside my window in the middle of the night meant true and undying love.
Listen to our podcast, Happily Ever Aftermath, where we revisit these movies and it turns out they weren't the best ideas.
What were you thinking?
You can find our podcast, Happily Ever Aftermath, on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, or your favorite podcatcher.
You can also tweet at us at HEAMCAST. Heamcast.